Oh my god. Oh no. Oh. I think I'm dead, boys. No. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's Kev, you're...
Oh man, that was so scary just to watch.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gift of Gaming podcast once more. On this, the spooky season, a very happy Halloween. And a happy Halloween to my two guests joining me in the spooky episode, Colm Nolan and Kev Purcell. Guys, how are you?
Great, yeah. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you guys for meeting up with me earlier on in the week and getting spooky scared.
Yeah, very spoopy. Spoopy indeed.
Yeah, happy to be here. As always, I am a big fan of a jump scare or any type of scare. So yeah, this is right up my street.
So for those who might not know, we met up during the week to play Alien Isolation. None of us had played it before.
No.
2014 game. Holds up very well, considering it's almost 10 years old or whatever. But before we go into the whole what we did, where we are, like, what are you guys playing? And it's like, it's, you know, we're recording this obviously a day before. This isn't live. Sorry, listeners, to break your bubble or whatever else. We don't do this live. I haven't got the energy for that. But so they'll be listening to this on Halloween. How do you guys like Halloween? You guys get into Halloween?
I love Halloween, but over the last like 3 or 4 years, right, basically since COVID, I've kind of been drinking less. So I used to always like dress up and go out, and just that would always be a good excuse to, like, you know, pick a favorite film or like genre and go with a cool character from that, and then lead that into a night out. But now that I don't do the nights out, I'm like, who am I going to dress up for?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'll always dress up at least, like, and some years if there's a party on, I'll obviously go to a party. But like, just like the general vibe of Halloween just does it for me. Like walking up and down the street, seeing the houses done up.
Yeah.
The other day, I think like the schools must have like had that day before they break for like the Halloween break.
I know,
and the
wearing their
amount
gear.
of costumes I saw just knocking around, like this
yeah.
little troop of giant inflatable dinosaurs just going by the window, and I was like, we're there. It's Halloween. I love it.
Is it good? Were you guys proper big trick-or-treaters?
My estate was okay as a kid. Like, there'd be a big group of like my brother's friends, like Craig's friends and stuff, that would have gone trick-or-treating, and I would have tagged along with them, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I guess you would have gone trick-or-treating, but nowhere too adventurous, just in your local estate, you know.
That was me too. I was a scared kid growing up. Like I didn't do. It took me years to go trick-or-treating. I used to, like, my sister was big into it, and, you know, my mom always said she couldn't get her back in, so I'd always share in her sweets and her candy by the time she got back, like, because I just couldn't bring myself to go out. I used to get scared of the fireworks and all that type of stuff. But as the years went on, I was like, no, I like this stuff. I can get into scare mode. So now that our house is on our street is the scariest one at all. I think I might have mentioned this to you, Kev. I know Colm knows, but yeah, we take Halloween very serious in my family, which is weird because we didn't always, and it just kind of happened one year that we, you know, Mum decorated the place up to the nines. Dad, for some reason, was like, yo, I feel like dressing up and scaring kids. And I was like, sweet, it sounds good to me. So me and my brother got into, like, and my brother for years had gone out to like Halloween parties. He was big into dressing up, so like wolf costumes, scary, like all of the full body stuff. So we'd all just put on that kind of stuff, wait out in the driveway for kids of all ages, and like just scare the absolute crap out of them, to the point where we had like kids that would cry, kids that would run away screaming, and I was like, yes, this is what Halloween's all about. Just scare them.
That's
Because
exactly it.
I had, like, you know, I used to be scared, but I have these great memories of there was a road just, you know, next over to the road that I was living on with my family, and there was always a house there that had like real spooky decorations, and when you knocked on the door, they opened the door real slowly, about like the husband and wife were like dressed up, and they'd be like, what do you want, you know, real kind of like, but I, as a kid, I was like, oh, I don't want to go to that house, they're scary. But I love having that memory, and I love being able to give that memory to, like, there's loads of kids now who walk around in the area, like we live, there's a, you know, this area like about, it's probably a good like 30-minute walk away. There was kids coming from there, from that estate, like up in Charlemont. There was kids from Charlemont go down to the other end of Griffith Avenue, down to where, you know, I was living with the family, and they would walk all that distance just to come and experience our house. And in the days leading up to Halloween, there was sometimes I might have been out in my driveway, you know, getting into the car to go somewhere, and there'd be kids walking with their mum and dad from home from school and be like, that's the one, Mom, that's the one, this is the scary house, whatever. And I'd be getting into my car and be like, you're damn right, it's a scary house, kid. Like, you better watch yourself when you come here tomorrow night, whatever, you know. But that kind of stuff was lots of fun. So yeah, I'm in for a good scare. Do you guys have any plans for your Halloween night? We're all none of us are partying. It's a work day.
It's the Tuesday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday, so like, you know, when people listen to this. I mean, for me, I'll have done a full day's worth of work before it comes to Halloween, which would be unusual.
But I'm really hoping that we get more visitors to the house this year, because we, like, since I've lived just around the corner there in Marino, like, we've decorated the house every single Halloween. But I get the sense like kids only go to houses that they know. Yeah. So because they don't know us, we like never get anyone in. Like, we let the odd kid in. So like we're going to try and decorate the house a little bit more this year to try and coax them in.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a bit gingerbread housey, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
Is this as a kid, you look for like red flags. A red flag of a house you don't want to knock on is no Christmas Halloween decorations. Like if you see that, you're like, they probably don't have anything good. But then you see a place that's all done up to the nines, like your family, Darren, and you're just kind of like, they're going to have fucking good shit. Prioritize that.
And it is a huge part of it, because I remember there was always a house in my road that my sister would have been like a completionist when it came to trick-or-treating. So in the years when I did go out with her, she was like, no, we're hitting every house on the road. But there was always this house where lovely neighbours, like lovely woman, but she'd invite you into the house. Which I know you probably would be a bit stranger to do today, but when I was like whatever it was, like 9 or 10, she'd be like, come in, and then in her living room she'd have like her coffee table with loads of bowls of different things that you could take. You could just put them in your bag, but it was all peanuts, apples, candies that had the wrappers taken off them, and it's just like that real like, I don't want to go to this house anymore. Like, it's kind of weird because it was never the good stuff,
People that handed out a big handful of monkey nuts, they were the worst.
They were the
Or
worst.
you got an orange the odd time, you're just like, come on.
Yeah, if you give this to me, it's getting thrown at your fucking door.
You might as well have given me an egg, because it's coming right back at you.
It was always good. I tonight am heading to the Nightmare Realm. Which I was just telling Kev before the episode starts, that it's a whole area with spooky mazes and hired actors and buildings full of clowns and things like that you can just meander through and just get spooked. And I'm very much excited for getting properly scared.
Yeah. I think that used to always be in the RDS, but it's in a couple of different buildings this year, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I'd never heard of it before this year. My brother went last year and recommended it, and I think we're retaring Scaring the Kids this year. This is the year where we're kind of taking a step back. So just to get our scare fix, we've decided, my dad and my sister, we're going to go and just get ourselves scared. I can actually picture us going there and like giving these paid actors pointers. It's like, excuse me, we've been doing this for a long time in our driveway. Like we know how to scare people. You're coming at it the wrong way. But yeah, so other scary things. We watched Smile last night.
Yeah, creepy as fuck. I would say more so creepy than horror-y.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I don't think, like, you're kind of like, there's gonna be something creepy as fuck here, isn't there? And then you're like, yeah, that's creepy. But you're never out, like, maybe 1 or 2 points in the movie you like might just actually jump. I think, there's only 1 or 2 moments I would say in that film. Yeah, it was okay, but it was nice to get a good scary movie that I haven't seen in before Halloween, because I usually just rewatch the fucking generic, like, go through the Halloweens, go through the Friday the 13th or whatever.
The classics 80s ones, 100%. That's my bread and butter.
And it is nice, because I before we come up and we were like trying to figure out what scary movie we'd watch, I put onto the table The Descent, which is my go-to Halloween film.
Which one's
every
that
year.
one?
They go
Spelunking
in the caves. It's a real kind of claustrophobic kind of horror film. But like I love scary movies, and I really get like scared from scary movies, and like the likes of The Descent and Paranormal Activity have really done it for me, because like I was saying to the guys last night when we were watching the film, the moment you see the entity or the thing, especially when they're trying to be like thrillers or like psychological things, the moment you see the entity or the monster, the alien, it kind of, and it's rare that it's like it's done spectacularly well. Like sometimes it's like dodgy CGI and all that kind of stuff that it really takes me out of the scare. What I loved about Paranormal Activity is that you never see like the entity is invisible that entire film, so it's just this thing that you cannot see. Now the girl gets possessed, spoiler, girl gets possessed at the end, and you see her possessed, but there's no big reveal that kind of sucked me out. Like I remember seeing other films, like when I was watching Insidious, and you saw like the devil creature, and I was like, that's a bit naff looking, and then I was immediately out of the film. And the same with the Babadook. I was really enjoying that, and then you saw the Babadook, and I was like, oh, that's not actually that scary. And then with Smile, we saw the creature towards the end of Smile, and like, I was like, oh, okay, that's
just a person in a suit.
Kind of took me out of it. But that's what I love about like the Paranormal Activity, because you don't see the thing, or The Descent where it leans into it heavier, being like, no, we'll show you the thing early on, and we're going to do it so well that you will be scared of these creature or these creatures, and you have to deal with the rest of the film knowing they were around the place. Do you know what I mean? And I always think that they're kind of the more successful kind of scarier
the
films.
Suggestion of it being there, but not
all
quite.
the time. Like I said, it was the Descent, for people who haven't seen it, it's like, like they're kind of like cave monsters, but like they're a version of humans. So it's not CGI. It's kind of like,
play Skyrim.
Yes.
Do you know
yeah,
the Dwemer? The
Yes.
underground
Yeah,
freaky
yeah.
things. Basically them.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Oh,
Loads of
ideal.
Dwemmers, yeah.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
that's, you know, that's more believable. Like, I mean, for me, like, I mean, the idea of like there being caves on planet Earth with this fucking Dwemmers or whatever else,
Yeah.
makes you feel really unsettled. But that's what I love about that movie, because it's a potentially a believable thing that there's creatures that have evolved differently and that we just haven't found still living on the planet, as opposed to, ooh, the big entity ghost type thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that was good. So yeah, we played Alien Isolation to spook ourselves, to try and see if it was a good scary Halloween game. And needless to say, like, I mean, I'm gonna pepper this episode when I'm doing the editing with I recorded us, the three of us, playing through the game, the audio, and it is very funny. It is. So I'm gonna pepper the episode here and there with like little clips when we're talking about
Fun.
yeah, scary bits. So you play the campaign first, and I guess the whole point of this episode is like, hey, you've got an episode of the Gifted Gamer podcast to listen to on Halloween. But I guess it was like, here's how scary kind of potential Halloween games. If you're sitting at home listening to the podcast and it's the afternoon, and you're like, what'll I do at Halloween? Well, let us tell you, Alien Isolation's worth an absolute go 9 years later to get a scare. We start off with the campaign.
Yeah, cool.
Which we only got like 2 hours into before we kind of said it wasn't.
Yeah, I think I played it a little bit longer at home. Like I got it myself as well, because I'll do this like every single year, and like there's always like a Reddit thread around this time of year as well, being like, what's the best horror games?
Yeah.
And people and Alien Isolation is always up at the top. It really is. So I was like, I'm gonna get stuck into this because I do enjoy a good scare. And I'd say I got like, I'm not 10 hours in, but I'm you know, I got a bit through the game, and the parts that we started seeing, particularly with the replicants,
The android kind
the
of
android
creatures.
guys, they're the fucking scary part of the game for
They
a lot of
freaked
it. For
me
me.
out, yeah,
They are
yeah.
terrifying. Yeah. That was really, really good. Like, there's one area I got to in the end where like you're just having to like navigate through like 3 or 4 different rooms, and like each one of the rooms has like 4 of those fuckers in it, and they walk in a particular path that you can figure out quickly, but like getting through it is impossible, and every single time they will get alerted to you, and you're just running from them the whole time and then trying to go through the room again. Like, what did you guys think of them? Like, were you...
I loved how they introduced one of the mechanics with them, was that we, you know, because we, like I said, we got 2 hours into it maybe before we gave up. Not gave up, but we're like, I want to be more scared than I am. Like, I'm in suspense, but I'm not scared. So we moved to survival mode, which we'll get onto. But I quite enjoyed them, but there was a real clever bit that it scared me, and I knew exactly what they were trying to do, but it still got me. Was that you get the radar, the little monitor thing that'll tell you if there's movement near you, and it's the first time you're introduced to this thing. So you've come across the AI android fellas; they haven't turned evil against you yet, or evil against like the crew or anything like that. So you're like, okay, this seems fine. I got nothing to worry about. These guys are just here to help me. But you go and you pick up the radar thing, and when you lift it or you press the button to bring it up onto your screen, it'll tell you where there's movement near you. And the moment I picked it up and had a look at it, which is what the game tells you to do, it's like, hey, use press L1 to use this thing. And I was like, okay. And immediately there was like movement behind me, and I turned around real quick to one of the androids being like, is everything okay? And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, but the game purposely like, here's how you use this thing, and we're going to scare you by telling you how to use this thing. And I love that, like, that classic kind of horror introduced you into the mechanics. And I knew I was going to get scared. I knew there was a scare here. I knew exactly what they were going to do, but I turned around and still got spooked by this.
It absolutely delivers on the jump scares, that one, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, even just like the audio of the game was sending me a lot of the time, where like when I first started playing it, and when we started playing it as well, you don't run into the xenomorph for like quite a period of time, but the whole time you're waiting. So it's that anxiety build for me. So you could be in a vent and you just like hear another bit of the vent rumble, and you're like, was that me? Was that an echo, or am I being hunted down? So it's almost like that anticipation of waiting to be attacked was what was really getting to me. Like, and then when it eventually happened, that's why I laugh so much. I'm like, there it is, you know. I laugh on the scare.
That is the funniest thing when I'm throwing these clips in and out. That's what I love about, you know, listening back to the clips. It's just understanding how both of you guys deal with suspense and being scared. And Kevin, you were just a laugher. You were just like, I'm so scared, so my natural defense mechanism is just to laugh at this, but like it's a scared laugh, you know. It's so good. Did you enjoy the campaign, Colm, to kind of kick it off?
No, the campaign was good. It wasn't super scary or anything like that from the points that we played, but I think I had like kind of background game information that kind of made me feel more safe. Like while we were like traversing through up until we met Axel. Was that his
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Until you
yeah.
meet Axel, I was like, there's no way we're going to meet the alien until we see it in a cutscene. And then we met Axel and Darren. At the time, you were like out of the room. And I was just like, by the way, Darren, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, the first thing he does is like hold you hostage, basically. He's just like, I'll fucking kill you. And you're like, we've got a ship. We'll get you out of here if you show us where the comms room is. They're like, okay, I can get off this place with you. Yeah, all right, I'll help. I was like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. And he's like aggressive to everybody else you meet in the short little time later. And then sure enough, you get a little bit further on and a cutscene starts going down. And I was like, even thinking, I think I might have said to you guys, like, if Axel gets his, I'll be so happy. Yeah. And then like, sure enough, like you go into 2 different rooms and you have to both press a button. And you both do that, the door opens, and then in Axel's room, the alien just appears and like tears him apart. And I was like, okay, from now on, the
This
game
alien-
is real, and you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And it's funny playing it like that because we know games called Alien Isolation. We've grown up with the Alien films. We know what the whole premise of this film is. For sure, it's like, or the premise of this game is like, I have to like get away from this alien. But yeah, the whole time I was playing it, being like, are they gonna just jump me with the alien, or like as Colm said, do I get it? Do I get that moment of understanding where it's like, no, we'll give a cutscene and then you have to deal with it, and that's what I loved about it. But I have a question for you guys, because this is purely hypothetical because we don't have the technology, but the part that I love about the game, and I'm big into kind of space films. I especially love Life. Do you know what I mean? Where I don't know if you remember. Life
Yeah, I remember that one.
where they find that like the creature, that organism, or whatever else that ends up taking over the ship, but the fear, and I just want to ask the question, if you guys think you could do it, but that fear where, because the whole point is Ripley, who you're playing as, is looking for her mother. They believe that there's a chance her mother was on this space station place that seems to have kind of gone offline, and you go off to explore, and when your ship gets there, you can see that there's like lots of damage to the spaceport, no one's responding, and you have to make the trip through, the doors closed to get into to dock properly, so you have to like spacewalk over to this thing. Do you guys, and like he says, knowing what we don't know if there's any life out in space, but if you guys were in deep space and someone said, all right, I need you to spacewalk over to this spaceport where you can see like flickering lights and no one's getting back to us, do you guys think you could do it? You guys actually think you could go over to put yourself in that environment? Do you think you'd be okay?
No. No.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're
I'd be
already
a
in
mess.
space and you're used to that kind of like at the minute, I'd be like, I just wouldn't go to space because, I mean, you'll die.
It's
Most
not worth
likely.
it. Yeah.
But
You're
if you're in
tough
a
guy, like you'd like to think you would, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're like, but when a push comes to shove, no, no way.
yeah, some things romanticize it, like Cowboy Bebop or like Serenity or Firefly. You know, like all these. It's like, yeah, I could definitely do that. That'd be grand. And then
Space
you see
travel
Dead
is safe and
Space or
goofy.
Alien,
Yeah.
like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no.
So we got through that. We got the alien kind of introduction, and I think that was kind of it then afterwards, because we ran away from that and got into the part with the android fellas.
Yeah, they did kind of freak me out. It was just more so the controls for the game are quite sensitive in some ways, but when you're actually moving, you're quite slow. So when you've a really sensitive viewing, but you're moving slowly, it's just like, oh, I don't like this.
Please move quicker for the love of God.
We had a moment there though while we were playing, and you had to like escape from one android, and you go like just into another room, and as I'm going down the stairs, the door just opens and another android comes out, and I just crouch, and I'm just like, okay, hopefully he just like fucks off and doesn't come near me. And then he immediately just turns, looks at me like, oh fuck, shoot at him, run away. And then after some time we came back into that room and he was just on the ground in a totally different location. And I remember just being like, oh fuck, did the alien get him? What's going on? And I just went over to like loot his corpse, and I wasn't anticipating. I didn't even know it was that kind of game, but a quick time event comes and he just grabs your leg, and it's just like, oh, and I start pressing it, and the quick time was very unforgiving, because I think we were playing it on the hard
mode,
whatever hard mode it was, and like it just from that, he's like, I was waiting for you. It's like, oh Jesus Christ.
With those dead blue eyes as well, like there's nothing wrong.
And that's the great thing about what I love about a good scare as well, is that we were, sitting here in the apartment, all the lights off, absorbed in it, and like your energy, people's scared energy rubs off on you. So like me just kind of watching Colm approach this android thing, in my head I was like, I wouldn't do that, but I've got no control over the situation because Colm's playing, and the moment the thing comes up and grabbed them, I got such a fright myself, but I was like, I wouldn't have done that, Colm, why did you do that? Like when you have no control, it's almost scarier, which we'll get to the point like when we were playing survival mode. But yeah, I enjoyed the androids kind of turning against the crew was quite cool when they became violent and you kind of had to.
Yeah, you can see it from a vent at one stage where a guy's like, "Oh, we gotta get to communications." He's like, "You're being hysterical."
Yeah, and
and
just bashes his fucking head in.
Well, your man shoots him first, and it does absolutely nothing. So that's kind of like a bit of like pre-warning, like don't waste your ammo.
Yeah, these guys, you're just gonna have to hide from these guys.
Did that happen for us in the game where we picked up the revolver? I can't remember if that
Yeah,
was
we
my
got
own game.
No,
we
we
did
got the revolver, but we were like,
it doesn't help.
No.
Like it slows them down momentarily, and then you can maybe like use the wrench to slow them down a bit more.
you had a moment, Colm, where you were being chased by one of them, and you got a perfect shot on the android's head as they were approaching it, and you ran by them. But as you were running by them, thinking like, "Hey, I'm scot free, or this will give me like a couple of seconds," like he just immediately grabbed you, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so they don't really do anything for you,
No.
like, you know,
Buys you the tiniest bit of time to run, but then like even if you manage to find something to hide in,
Yeah.
they're on your tail straight away. Like,
And the sound, and you know, we weren't playing with headphones because the three of us were kind of sharing the screen and watching each other play. But I can't imagine how awful that game would be with like 360 surround sound, because when we were crawling through vents or going through certain parts in the main game, we often heard. Especially after the alien appeared, we often heard like what sounded like the alien rummaging in the vents or being in the room next to you. And because you're on a ship and everything's so metallic and industrial and cold, I was playing it being like, oh, I don't know what that sound is. I don't want to know what that sound is. Do I have to keep playing this game right now? And I love it. Like I don't think I get scared that easy, but there's something about creating that atmosphere and like being there with your mates who are also scared that I was like, I don't know how much longer I can play this game for.
Well, the games definitely do have that built into their soundtrack. Like they'll have like, if you're not, you don't have to be in events, but like while you're in vents or if you're walking around, you'll hear the clanking of pipes, and you'll hear like, you know, like when you step on like ducting or something that makes that like impression noise, like the boom.
Yes, that you've like put it out or whatever. Yeah.
So they'll have that peppered throughout it, so you could be totally safe, but you'll hear that anyway, and that'll put you on edge. So you're looking around, and then maybe the sound effect of an actual alien coming down on you sounds a little bit different, but it's the same. Dead Space did it really fucking well, to the point that I have an amazing anecdote, and I don't know if Craig's ever told it before because it's from his good friend Ken, but they were playing Dead Space when it first came out, and he just walked into a room after having dealt with some fucking scary, freaky shit. He walks into a room, and as he's walking over to an item, he just hears the sound of a pipe hitting the ground behind him, like just at the entrance to the door, and whatever way it caught him, like the noise was very creepy, and he just paused the game. He's like, no, done with this. I just, rather than like look around or see what was going on or get the jump scare, he just paused it. I was like, I'll have none of this, thank you.
That happened a lot to me when I was younger, a good bit younger, but playing the old Resident Evil games back on the PlayStation 1, where you'd be walking down like a corridor, and it was that classic that just made the old Resident Evil games so scary. It was the lack of free movement that you had,
the camera angles.
and the camera angle you couldn't control and everything. And I remember going through a corridor, and it's like thunder and lightning outside. I think it's Resident Evil 2, maybe 3 actually, but it's like lightning outside. But it was the clickers. Is that what you call the lickers?
Oh yeah.
The ones with the horrible monsters with the big tongues. And I remember getting that cutscene, and it's in that, you know, we watch it now, it's terrible CGI. But I remember getting it, and the game came through to me, and it dropped down on the floor in front of me. But whatever the camera angle was, I had no idea where I could run to. And in that moment, the exact same paused the game, was like, and I'm never playing a Resident Evil game ever again. I have no idea how to get out of this situation. I'm out. And when you're a young kid by yourself, you're like, nope, no.
What age were you then?
So like Resident Evil 3, probably not long after we got it.
Oh, it was 3. Okay.
I think it was Resident Evil 3, yeah. So not long after we got it. So I'd say it would have been like a young-ish teenager when I gave it a shot, like, you know, myself.
The camera angles of Resident Evil 2 was the first like glimpse of Resident Evil that I ever got. So when I played that, and the angles were just so fucking freaky and awful. Like you start in a train station in a train car, or you have to go through a train car, and you can hear the sound of the zombies in front of you. And if you played the game before, all you have to do is just like keep running.
Yeah.
Go through the door and you'll beat them. But if you hold on, which is what I did, the zombies keep walking and cut off your exit. And then even if you get off the bus, I think that they kind of follow you out and off. And as a kid, that freaked me out so fucking much that I was just like literally in the first 5 minutes of playing the game, Craig rented that and I rented the Rugrats, made the quick switch over to the Rugrats. So I was like, fuck that shit. That's I was probably only about 9 then, by the way, so I was young.
No, but and it is like, and even now, like there's certain things that would scare me now. I think of like Silent Hill. Silent Hill is a game I'd love to go and play again, but Silent Hill definitely disturbed me a lot. That I don't know if I could ever play that by myself again. In that there was I think in Silent Hill 2, or maybe even the first. The one that's really foggy, just basically because it was an old game, you can't really see that far ahead of you. And you're walking around with the guy in the green jacket. I think that's Silent Hill 2. But there was creatures that come out from underneath the cars when you're walking through the city, trying to get like to the hospital, and the map is bloody and everything's grim and it's all horrible. But then the thing runs out from underneath the car across the street. Do you have the car? That's where I just like had my character stand there and be like, don't know if I want to continue with this one, thanks, you know.
I found that early on as well, and again that like I don't know if like it definitely falls into the genre, but it's not your typical kind of jump scare. But in Alan Wake, and particularly like the earlier chapters of the game, when like you haven't managed to pick up or hoard much, like, you know, batteries for the flashlight to keep the people like with the dark away from you, and they can just appear from literally anywhere in a forest from behind a tree, and you have nothing to really defend yourself at this point, because I always found it was way harder at the start of the game. But like, would you call that a generic kind of horror game, or is it more of a survival game?
I'd say it's kind of horror-y because like I'd never
it used to scare me
proper played it, but I did watch people, and there's definitely a lot of like kind of jumpy scares.
I used to speed run it, but I used to try and speed run it as much as I could, because like I was struggling to find ammo like in the first couple of chapters. But then it's a weird one as a game, and actually progressively I thought got easier, because you figured it out a bit more, but then there was far more ammo, and there was far more like stuff you could hoard and flares.
I think the point of the Alan Wake games, you know, they're kind of more of the settle in and get psychologically
Stephen
messed up.
King meets Twin Peaks, you know,
exactly that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where so I think if you're speed running or whatever else, you're not sitting into things, I guess, the way maybe they wanted you to play it. So you're not sitting into things getting like completely spooked, and then you're like, oh, but if you speed run, you're like, it's like literally just running away from something, being like, I don't see this, so I don't care. It doesn't scare me. I don't see this, I don't care. But yeah, so we went then from playing the main campaign. We got about like 2.5 hours into the main campaign, and we kind of said, you know what, this is kind of thrillery, but not giving us enough of a scare. And boy, did we make a mistake making the switch over, because we got what we asked for. Like immediately, because we hadn't. This is the thing. Like, I mean, you'd played a little bit before.
I hadn't done the survival mode. That was my first time doing it.
And it was because you start off in kind of like, again, you're on the spaceship. You start off in a room, and there's a few little bits and pieces to help you, you know, create med kits or whatever it might be. And then you're just kind of out on the map, and we had no idea what to expect. I was the first one that went, and oh man, I was in bits, because I went out into the first corridor, and it's basically essentially like a square map with vents and other rooms to sneak into, and then at the very end of the map, to the very northern point, there's a staircase that goes up to give you like, you know, almost like a mirrored image on the second floor, where there's a generator that you have to turn on. But we had no idea what we were doing at all, and I ran out. I'm not expecting, because we played through the whole main game and seen a cutscene of the alien, and that was it. We hadn't dealt with the alien in the main game at all. So I ran out, and the first thing, there's a couple of things to hide behind. The moment I ran out, you just hear nothing but noise and like alien screams. And I was like, holy, what am I meant to do here? And I hid behind the very first stack of items, and I could hear him right there in front of me. So then you take out your little radar thing, which like just goes, because the thing was right in front of me, was just going boop 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 boop, and I was like, oh my god. And you can do that little hold L1 and peek, and every time I picked up, his head was just because I guess the AI knew I was there, but hadn't seen enough of me to kill me or catch me, come around the other side of this thing, but would not fuck off at all. And the noise from the three of us, like anytime I peeked over and he was there, is all of us going, oh. But it is so intense in that it's not like you're just playing through a storyline and these like beats are happening to you. That alien in the survival mode is hunting you relentlessly from the moment you go in. And it's just like, am I smarter than this AI? That is fucking terrifying.
Shake your ears. No, hide. Get to the elevator. Run to the elevator now. Just run. Where's that? Straight ahead. Straight ahead. Down to the left. Down the stairs. Left. And the elevator's on your right. Oh, there he is! Why is he making these? I was like, oh, it's up here. That's bad. Yeah.
It was never more than like I don't think we ever got like 10 yards away from the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always on the cusp of being on top of you. Like,
I got onto the second floor, and the only reason I got there was because, similar to like what you do in the main game, but you kind of see a pattern emerge. So having you two went first, Darren first, then you, Kev. So by the time you had kind of gone, or maybe even after I had gone again, you just start to see like a little pattern emerge. You're like, I wonder if I do this, and this, will it work? And then for me, me, I remember just going out straight away, seeing the staircase on one of your runs and being like, right, I can get there. I'm just going to go out. If the alien comes at me, I got a flamethrower. That'll slow him down. And then I'll run up the stairs and we'll see what happens. And I think that's exactly what I did. The flamethrower did sweet fuck all, and it actually scared me more than it probably upset the alien. But I did manage to run, get around the corner and get up the stairs. And then I think, Darren, this is a moment where I got into a locker, and just as a little forewarning, for me playing that game, especially in the survival, when people went to get into a locker or anything like that, it would literally scare the shit out of me, because I would just anticipate the alien grabbing you from behind, putting you into an awful fucking cinematic where you just have no escape. And it did happen from time to time, but the anticipation of it happening really scared me more than anything
what I
else.
loved about your reaction, and there is a clip that'll play when you hid on, was that when you went halfway up the stairs and you hid and you'd had enough? I beelined for the stairs, and I had no idea, like, we'd never gotten up the stairs, so I didn't know what was up there waiting for me. So when I saw the little hatch, I was like, get the fuck in there, get in. Yeah. That was so good. So you went into the hatch and were like, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to have it out of the Darren,
like,
the controller.
Darren, would you like?
I was like, no. I still play the clip.
You made the stage instantly could have got that. Oh, absolutely not.
The hilarious thing was, like, sitting there and watching you two guys and realizing what bits kind of scared, like which bits you both found scarier. So Colm, you always found that little animation between getting into a vent, into a locker, into a whatever it is, that animation scared you more so than anything else. Because anytime we were running from the alien, and you'd always hear the thuds of it, like, crouch up behind you
on your ass, like fucking chasing you
and
down.
me or Kev would decide to hide. Anytime you would be on your feet going, like, just freaking out, because you and like that, it's built that, like, you press this button and you hope that automatically when I press X I'm just hidden, but there is that 2-second animation, and you're like, but he's right there and he can see, because there was a great one where I was trying to, like, I was fucking about with the alien for a while, and then he was chasing me and I hid in the locker, but I was like, he 100% saw me, and then he was like back and forth in front of the locker door for
he was playing, and then he just stayed to the side. Like, if you checked your motion detector, he was still there, just off to the side, out of view. And then after a while, he goes off. So I wonder if you would come out, would he have just been ready to just fucking
jump me?
You?
Yeah. And that's the thing as well. That's where, like, because you don't know how well the game is built. It's like, is the AI clever enough to, like, just wait for me to leave? Like, is that what it's doing here? And it's, I think, where I think, in real life scary scenarios, would I have the guts to get back out of the locker ever, or am I just going to die in this locker? Like, I'm never going to leave. Like,
what was great as well, I don't know if it was in the story or if it was in that survival mode, but when one of you was like, you were in a corridor and there was like lockers on both sides of the wall, and you started on the right side of the wall, hiding in the locker. You got out and then you like ran up a little bit. The alien started coming back. You jumped into a locker on the left, and while you were looking out, you could see a different locker with just a dead NPC, and there was a hole in the door, and his like carcass was just like falling out onto the floor and all. And it was like, oh shit, like, because like the AI does learn. If you keep hiding in lockers, they'll pick up on that and just like kind of search them. So
I wish we'd like seen more of like the animations for the kills though as well, because the different angles, like, I thought it was going to be, maybe the same 1 or 2, maybe 3 animations if they get you from the front, the back, or on top. But all the different ways we died while doing that survivor mode were sick. Like, whichever one of these got in the vent and got pulled from the back.
That was me.
That was
our
mental.
That was our first run as well. And like, I'll play the clip for that one.
Oh no. I didn't think we were friends.
Neither did I. Next thing like, well, if he does, they're gonna flame the record.
But that one's mental because I thought I was home free because I got into the vent and we had no. We couldn't conceive that the alien was also allowed in the vent, because when you saw the alien take to a vent, it was always these big holes in the main corridor where you were hopping into these tiny little vents, and the noise those vents would make would almost scare you, because when you went close enough to them, they'd react and automatically open, and that like noise was enough to scare me sometimes. I was like, oh, where's the alien? I was like, oh, it's just a vent, I'm okay. But I got into that with the alien chasing me and snuck in, and when you get far enough away from the door, the vent will close again, and I was like, oh, and then the door automatically opened and I saw the alien walk by the vent and I was like, all right, I need to get out of here just in case the alien can get in. So the vent closed again. I thought nothing of it, turned around, turned on my torch because it's now pitch black, and started running towards the other vent. And the moment that vent opened and I was about to leave, animation kicks in, which scared the shit out of all of us, and I just got dragged back dark screen, and it's just the three of us scream, and I was like, oh god, because you think you're safe, like you think, oh no, he either can't come in here or I'm far enough away now. Like I didn't see him come into the vent, so I've got loads of time to get out. But as you said earlier on, Colm, your movement sometimes is so, you feel so waterlogged.
Yeah, particularly when you're trying to, like, if you're in sprint mode and you try to turn left or right, like it's probably quite realistic to actually try to sprint and turn.
Yeah.
But like it was super labored, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't take a sharp corner at all. And that thing's got like 4 legs is chasing you. You know what I mean? We had no chance.
The alien does seem to always be running on 2 legs though.
Yeah,
and
when it's
so
walking.
Heavy.
Yeah.
The worst one in terms of that was when you, Kev, took your second turn and you were like, you know, fuck this shit, I'm out. And you just legged it. You full sprinted up the stairs. And the stairs is like...
he was behind me as well. I thought I had him.
That was the worst part, because you legged it up the stairs, and it's about what, 3 or 4 levels you have to go up these stairs in this like kind of square pattern, and we could just like I was like, you know, like laughing out of pure fear, being like, you're a madman, like he's gonna get you, because you could hear the dun 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 dun, and you turned around at one point and there was no alien, and you looked down over the things, could not see any alien but could still hear the things. You ran up one more case, and when you turned around you got absolutely murked by it.
Done.
But it's just that, because it's like that thing that the way the game, you turn around, you're like, okay, you've got time, and you turn it back and you're like, no, I'm fucked, like that's it, game over.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Where is it?
I shouldn't have ran. Oh man.
It was good. I'm gonna play a lot more of that Survivor mode, I reckon. 'Cause like once you figure out the routine, I'm hoping I'll be able to get past at least.
I'd say
one.
so, yeah. I don't know how many phases. Like, yous were telling me how many objectives there were. While I was playing it, I was not paying attention to anything other than like just running the fuck away or hiding or doing whatever.
And you got the furthest out of all of us, Colm, because the whole point of that one is there's loads of bonus side objectives you can do, but the main objective is to go to the generator on the top floor. Switch it on. It's so scary. Switch on the generator and then go back down to get the elevator out. That's the whole point, which is like, you know, I think that the time record, which is definitely like, you know, someone bugged it, was like 9 seconds.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's crazy. You couldn't do it 9 seconds. But the worst part is, and it reminds me of like the worst scene I remember from playing the first Last of Us.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know what you're on about.
Where you're underground and you're, you know, the whole time you're trying to be quiet and there's like water up to your waist, and you finally get to this bit, which, you know, is Joel. And the game's been so smart, and I love this about horror games, where the game has taught you that like you have to put on this thing on a generator to get the generator going, but it's also taught you that when you do that, the generator makes a fuck ton of noise. And that scene, I love that scene so much in The Last of Us. And it was funny because I was like living in New Zealand at the time, playing it late at night by myself, getting spooked, and I was in the water, and I was like, I know there's loads of you know, clickers and everything around me, and I know when I pull this generator, I'm in deep shit, like for so little ammo and I gotta make a run, but like you have to run slowly in the water. The moment I turned on that generator, lights came on, but the noise of everything that was like living around me that I hadn't seen before came running in my direction. I finished that section, saved the game, and didn't play The Last of Us then for about 2 months afterwards. I was like, God. But watching you, because Colm, you got to the generator on the top floor, and it's that same thing with, is that you have to, you know, interact with it and then like pump it almost, like a Jurassic Park pumping the, you know, the first Jurassic Park where your one is pumping the power generator.
And Samuel L. Jackson's arms.
So it's that kind of scare, and like you were there and like you had gotten up to the generator and hid kind of behind the generator, not in an actual like hiding spot, but you just crouched down behind it, and we could hear the alien nearby, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna, and like for me, I wouldn't have interacted, and that's what I love about it, because if it was me, I would have waited a little bit longer before I interacted with the generator, but I just had to just watch you do it, which scared the shit out of me, because you just straight away were like, okay, I'm just gonna pump this generator, and you're there pumping the switch, and all you can hear is the alien just going, you know, like screaming in the background, and then you running as fast as you could. But
there was a vent beside me. I think I got through that vent and up a little bit before
you got back then. So it changes the whole, putting on that generator changes the whole landscape of the, it's like, okay, you're in part 2 of this survival thing, because when we hit the generator, all the lights are switched off, and the alarms come on.
Yeah.
And it's that wow, wow. And I have a great audio clip I'll put on as well where it's you trying to hide from the alien, but all you can hear in the background of the audio clip is the alarm going off and the footprints. And even listening, when I was like cutting bits out to throw into this episode, even when I was listening to it, I was going, ooh, and I didn't like it because it settles. But it changes the whole dynamic, is that like the alien now knows you're here, but it's so much harder for you to hear things and to see things. Like, you know, there's like the you're in dark, but there's the red alarm is going off, so the lighting is red, but it's like, because the alarms are like these circle things that move, you're only getting glimpses of light in the corridors, and it makes it so much harder for you to get out. But you got so close, you were around the corner from the escape elevator column, and I remember you were like legging it as fast as you could, and you heard the alien behind you, so you just ducked down behind, I think, just like a fence, essentially, like a catwalk fence, so it wasn't a legitimate hiding spot, and you just peeked up and the alien saw you, and again it's just us three going, no.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah, so scary. So Kev, you reckon that's the thing, you could play by yourself? You brave man.
Yeah, I think I'll keep going. Like I do enjoy a good horror game, and I've got quite a few on the go at the moment. So like, if that for me so far has been the one that's probably been like the most tense and anxiety ridden to play. So I'll do it sparingly. Yeah. Because like I couldn't sit down and like bash out like 3 hours of that in a row. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just
we
no
had
way.
to like
I crumble.
Yeah, because we did like 2 goes each. Then we sat down for a cup of tea. Yeah. We turned the lights back on for a moment. I was like, do we have to go back into this? And I got 2 more. But the audio clips are real funny, because at times, especially you and me, Colm, there's at times where I'm playing and I got murked at the end, and it's just me going, I just can't. That's it. I'm out. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Because it was so like, my body was so tense. Like the moment we sat down for a cup of tea, my whole body was like, oh my god. Like, I
think I can't remember what the order that it happened in, but let's just say that Darren, you went first, and then you did your whole run through, and I was just like, right, I just passed it to Darren, so I've got Kev as a buffer, and then Kev kind of goes into it, and then like very quickly like gets caught out, and then it's like past the control. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah,
like,
do I have to do this
I
again?
just gave this over. I do not have it in me.
And it was real funny as well, because I think on your second go, Colm, because like when we came out, when you leave that survival room initially, you think there's a pattern. Like you think the alien comes from right to left and stops and looks. And you tried to do something different. You're like, I'm going to flamethrower this guy. And you tried to like muck up the, you know, or you're like, I'm going to, you know, wait here and he's going to do his usual thing. But you ran out real quick, which kind of messed up the algorithm.
Like,
so the alien just like appeared somewhere. Like you ran, you're like, well, I'm just going to run because the alien isn't here. And the moment you started running, it was like on your side of the map, which it shouldn't have been. And all 3 of us are like, no.
And they just like firing a flamethrower at it from a vent. I'm like, he just like, similar to what happened to you. I'm in the vent, and he opens the door and starts shooting with the flamethrower. Like, that'll get rid of him. And he just charges you while on fire. It's like, Jesus, why do you even have a flamethrower?
Is there, I mean, for me, just out of curiosity, is there any game that would be up, like for me that was probably one of the scarier video game experiences I've had with people. I think it's like, you know, when you get people in there, it's good to get like everyone's energy, just gets everybody just more scared. Is there any other games that would have kind of matched that kind of fear for you? In recent years, because like we're adults now, we understand that the scares aren't real, but like that still scared the absolute fucking shit out of me when I was playing that game.
Yeah, I would say the original Dead Space, maybe the remake, I haven't played it, but I'd say that the atmosphere from those games alone is scary enough without any fucking what are they called, necromorphs or something?
Yes.
Yeah, like that, like for intensity building, I think Alien Isolation did take a little bit of the like this creepy fucking atmosphere from, well, obviously the Alien movie, the original, because it's very much so like an isolation kind of atmospheric thriller horror, which is awesome, you know. Like, I mean, for this game, Alien Isolation, far more like the first one, because Aliens, you know yourself, it's far more action packed. Still a great fucking movie, but if you're looking for like which one is more horror, it's definitely the first.
Yeah, big time.
So the atmosphere of this game definitely is what makes it so good, and I do feel like the original Dead Space fucking had that atmosphere element down to a T. Like I was telling you earlier about Craig's friends who just fucking paused. He's like, I can't deal with it. Like what we were doing on survival mode, it was happening to people on the single player, you know.
That was the funniest thing as well, because I think on my first playthrough in survival mode, when I got killed, the moment the cutscene came, because it's the first cutscene, it's the first time we've experienced getting killed by the alien, I just put the map on. Like I hammered so many buttons on the controller immediately that I just put the map on and sat there being like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah. Will I quit or just unpause it and let him kill me?
Yeah,
I'll quit.
Yeah. I don't want to see this. I don't have to go through with this. Excellent. Yes, is there any more? I mean, because it's Halloween. Is there any other games, Kev, that you'd recommend people give a play?
Yeah, 100%. There's a couple games I really enjoy that are based off of horror movies that I think most people know, in Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's the same publisher released the two of them. Would highly recommend them to anyone who is a fan of classic horror movies, because it captures, particularly the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, actually. It's a really cool option. So you can either play as survivor, or hope to be a survivor, or a family member. So you could be like Leatherface or one of the other kind of characters that's in the original movie and some of the sequels. I never really watched the sequels, so I
Is
didn't
this a
recommend.
Text Chainsaw Massacre game, or is it like Dead by
it's a
Daylight,
game.
or?
So it's an online game. There's no story mode now. So it's you either play as one or the other. You play as a murderer trying to hunt down any of the 4 survivors that are in. It's the original house from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and it's an awesome way of doing it, because like playing as a victim firstly is way more fun in my opinion, because you have like the usual kind of little mini challenges you'd expect of a game like that, where you have to like maybe turn a generator on or off to unlock the prison cell. So the game starts, you're in a basement, and it's just get out. And as like one of the victims, you're permanently injured, so you can never run at full speed. You're always like hobbling, which adds to this insanity. And when the game starts in the basement, only one of the bad guys is in the basement with you, and that's fucking Leatherface. So like the game starts, you're trying to get out of these shackles, and all you hear is rum, 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 and it gets closer and closer, and it's just this insane anxiety build. So you might be able to get out of the basement, which is like you've completed one set of challenges, but then you're on the next floor and there's another person who's trying to get you, and like Leatherface can follow you up, but you can't deal any damage really to the bad guys chasing you. You're just purely escaping them the whole time, and it is some crack. Like it's why I like horror games that I can play for like 20 minutes like that, because like my game will probably last about 20 minutes.
Just like get your scare
just
in,
get my scare
and
up, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I can play something else. But yeah, I'd really recommend those to anyone who enjoys a horror game that's based on like a franchise that they might like from movies. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday the 13th would be the two I would recommend. But if you're going to do Friday the 13th, get on it soon, because I think because of a licensing deal, it's going to be pulled from...
oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be gone. So I think if you buy it pre the end of this year, you can have it for another year. But come the end of 2024, the license agreement's gone and the game will cease to exist. Servers are being taken down.
If you already have it, they can't really take it away.
But the server is going to be gone, so there'll be no online platform for it. Yeah. So it's a shame, and it's a really good one, because that one, while it's in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, while it's really fun to play as the victims, playing as like the bad guys isn't as good, because they don't have powers. They're just psychotic human beings. Whereas if you're playing as Jason in the Friday the 13th game, chap is OP. Like he can do some stuff that I didn't know he could do from the movies.
Yeah.
So getting to be him and that is just, it's some crack. Yeah, I would highly recommend those games.
What about you, Colm? Any horror games you recommend for people to play this Halloween if they're looking for something to sit down with in the evening? Fireworks going off, kids getting scared outdoors. What game would you be settling into to give yourself a little spook?
Oh, I don't even know, Darren. I don't know.
You're like, I'm not going to give myself a spook.
Yeah, I've already spooked myself out too much this year.
The Dead Space one is class. Like, if jumping back into Dead Space, I got the remake, and my God, like it's fear inducing. Like, but you haven't played the remake.
Not the remake. So just the original. Maybe like I don't even think I ever played like a HD remake of it or anything.
PlayStation 3, wasn't it? That generation, at least, anyway.
Yeah,
so I remember playing it on. Yeah.
So I had Dead Space 2 on the 360, I think.
Great game as well. It's like Aliens and Alien. It's just like it goes from like a atmospheric horror to like still a bit atmospheric, but mostly action. Yeah. Because it's just like, right, you've dealt with that before, so here's a fuck lot more of it and loads more ammo.
Do you know what I love about those games as well? Actually, is because they are creepy, and like the audio is a huge part of the creepiness of it. Because like like out of nowhere in the Dead Space remake, I can't remember if this is from the originals, but like they'll just be like random whispers in your ear, and like none of like the aliens or anything like that can really like talk like that. So it's just random atmospheric stuff just to mess with you, it seems like. And then there was this other thing I noticed in Dead Space that I don't think this was done on purpose, but it scares the bejesus out of me. So like if you've just like taken off a load of someone's limbs, you know, like that's the way you have to kill everyone in Dead Space, you have to take their limbs off. You know, usually if you walk over like a corpse in a game, it won't move. Like you'll just like kind of float through it. These ones move. So like you'll step on it and then like it might accidentally like come over your shoulder, like, and you'll see like the arms, but it's dead. Yeah. But like I think it's real. So I'm like, oh my God, there's one behind me. And I'm turning around. It's just like, I got him ages ago. Like, would you lay off?
Absolutely. And that's because in that game, right, you can use your telekinesis abilities to like, you know, pick up their limbs and shoot them back at them, or like pick up a corpse and just ragdoll it. Yeah. So like when you walk through it, it kind of still has that ragdoll physics, I'm guessing. But yeah, no, so such a fucking good game.
Oh, Dead Space is amazing. It's been a year since I've played them, but I think I will pick them up. If I were to choose another one to recommend, it's one that I haven't finished and couldn't finish when I tried it. It was during COVID, so it was especially hard. But Senua's Sacrifice. I don't know. Do you know the even though like the Senua, like there's a new second one coming out for the Xbox now sometime soon, but it's a whole thing on it's like a Norse Viking mythology or whatever else, and she is trying to, I think the story is that she's trying to like revive or see if she can bring her husband back to life by going on this journey, but she herself has mental health issues, so here's voices and things. So you're going through, it's very linear, very puzzle based, but it is quite possibly, and it's like recommend you play it with headphones and all that kind of stuff. But there are times where I'm walking through just like, oh yeah, I gotta move this thing and do that, whatever else, and I would be literally like, you just hear whispers, and with headphones it's like whispers a little bit through your left ear, so you swing to the left and there's nothing there, or a little bit of noise through your right, and you swing to the right, but it's like, oh Jesus, no, there's still nothing there. But it made me so unsettled because the whole thing, it's like a really good, I think they met up with teams and stuff like that and specialists to talk about, the effects of mental health, disorders with certain people and how they manifest themselves, and they put a lot of that into this game, and it was, I couldn't finish it. It was so unsettling, like not horror, not gore, not violent, but one of the more, nothing visual on the screen that was scaring me, but it was all just like messing with my head through pure audio. Pure audio was all that game needed. It was just
that's always the way with horror though, isn't it? It's just that like it relies so heavily on sound, like just to build up the tension, like that kind of like, like that violin noise where it's just like a scratching violin, and you're like, something's gonna happen.
Well, we were watching Smile last night, and it had a really good soundtrack that anytime it like it did it made you think something might just be about to happen, because it was building up the volume or the whatever notes being played is just like building in the theme of the song. But the motifs in Smile were very unsettling. It was just very like uncomfortable noises,
Very, very creepy. Could I ask you guys a question now? Based on like horror movies and stuff like that, is there any like video game that you would love to see, like it could be horror based obviously now, but is there any horror film kind of thing you'd love to see in a video game? And like what kind of film are we talking, or what kind of game are you talking?
I think one film that I enjoyed, I don't think it's as scary to watch, but I think it'd be very scary to play, would be Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow,
yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of, because he's a doctor in it, right? So I think the whole, like, you being like a doctor investigatory type of person in this scenario, but playing through the thing with the headless, and the headless horseman could be that thing that like constantly, like Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, constantly bothers you, and the whole landscape of Sleepy Hollow is in that forest by that manor place, so it's a very unsettling location.
There's witches and stuff in that world, so you never know what else you're dealing with.
So Sleepy Hollow would be one for me, again, because I love it so much, and I think it could be a very claustrophobic and unsettling game to play, and even without the monsters, just because of the claustrophobia, would be The Descent. Like you're a team of spelunkers, and you got to go through all these small caves, and then the camera angle would be great. Like you've got no control.
Your flashlight batteries
dies. Yeah, so I think The Descent could be a really good one for a jump scare. Those would be my two: Sleepy Hollow and The Descent.
Very cool. Kev, anything you got?
I find like kind of going the other way. A game that I think is actually being turned into a movie, and I'm hoping that the success or the potential success of the movie maybe gives us a sequel to the game in Days Gone, which like I think it's crying out for a sequel, but I think on release the game didn't do maybe as well.
I think it was released quite buggy and stuff.
Yeah,
That's the zombie one where you're on a motorbike, right?
Yeah, but like it's got serious. Like some of the biggest like scares I've had in a game was that one, because I think it would be more considered an action adventure open world style game, but it's definitely horror and survival themes all the way through it. Because like, did you play it? Like, you have to taking down a horde
is awful.
Is absolutely so terrifying, because the zombies in this game, they don't move like, they're not trudging along,
slow,
they're sprinting. Like they can move, and like every now and then you need to go into an area and clear it of, could be 200 of these things, so you have to like plan in advance. And
I only played about 2 or 3 hours of it, but what I love from those two or 3 hours is that it introduced you to locations where you knew you were going to have to deal with a horde in this location, because there was like things that you knew you could shoot at. Like that would blow up, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to fight a horde here.
Oh, there's a fire barrel. I wonder what that's there for.
So even going to those places, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with a horde here.
Yeah, so I think that like that will make for a fantastic movie, and I'm hoping the movie will put a bit more cash into Sony's pocket, and we'll get the sequel, because
they get Mark Wahlberg to be the main character.
Of course they'll always get Mark Wahlberg, but like it would make for a fantastic film. It really would. It's such a good game. It just I don't know why you got like, I was watching actually an IGN review for it quite recently, just to be like, what happened in the end of that game again? Like I haven't played it in a couple of years, and it panned it, like absolutely panned it. And then I was looking it up then on like Steam, but it had like really good ratings on Steam, so I was like, there's no,
well, it came a few years or a year or two after, I think it really got
completely fixed it,
like turnover.
What about you, Colm?
Well, after you said that, like, in fairness, to be the other way around, but I'm a huge fan of Dying Light. Dying Light is great. Zombie movie where you're kind of like a parkour specialist. A great way, like, I always thought during a zombie thing, I was like, sure, all you have to do is just climb. Like, if you get up on the wall and there's 1,000 zombies around you, all you need is a fucking spear and just start fucking stabbing bitches in the head, and you're like, well, I'm safe up here. But in this, like, there's like anomalies, like kind of jumpers and spitters and big giant hulks, kind of like in The Last of Us and stuff. But if I was to talk about like a film that I'd love to see made into a game, and I think it has been, but it's a really old one, and it would be The Thing.
Classic.
One of my favorite films, not even just horror, just like fucking one of my favorite films.
The Thing game is actually very, very good.
Is it not very old?
It's very old. I think it's PlayStation 1 or 2 maybe, but I really enjoyed The Thing, the game.
It's supposed to have mechanics in it where it's just like your trust and fear levels with your like your survivors and stuff. So if you have like a really low trust score based on some decisions you've made, like they won't trust you or whatever way it works.
That's
so
really advanced for PS1
for
game,
early days. Like, it sounds very, very cool. But like, if you like, because we played a fuck lot of Among Us during like COVID and shit like that. What a fun game. But if you were to add that same element, but instead of the imposter, you just like, it's less cartoony and you could make it a tiny bit more graphic, you know, and just put it into the world. And like, just the isolation, the fact that like you're at a lab in the middle of the Arctic, and like the power goes out, you start seeing, like in the Among Us, you're just like, what were you doing over there in the electrical room? And it's just like, someone just being so innocent, and someone else in the shade of the darkness like comes in and sabotages, and your trust with like your fellow friends just falters, and like the enemies are just playing you like a fiddle. You're like, oh, it's nothing worse.
Because Among Us, even with its simple kind of graphics and everything like that, still had the scare factor sometimes when you'd be running around, someone's like, one of the imposters has turned off the lights, and you're running to somewhere, and you only got that small little bit of light around your character, and the next thing you know, someone passes by your light and then kills you. And there were so many times I was sitting at home during COVID in the room by myself going,
the kill animations are hilarious in that as well. Did anyone ever play that? You could play that VR, couldn't you?
My brother had it or played it in VR. I've seen clips of it, but I just think that because Among Us still was able to give you that bit of that little bit of fear factor, even though it was goofy and cartoony, that it's like, if you made like a version of that only like based entirely on The Thing with modern day graphics and all the intensity that you can get from music and everything like that, I think The Thing, that kind of a version of The Thing would be a great game.
I mean, like the concept of it alone, like I remember seeing this thing about The Thing only recently as a film. Like John Carpenter took a lot of flack from it. Like, apparently it stopped him from working in massive Hollywood movies at the time, because when it came out, I think it was, what's your man, that really famous fucking reviewer,
Egart, like
Roger Ebert. Yes,
Ebert, yeah.
He came out and he said something about the movie like, this is the biggest piece of shit ever. Like, the only reason this film exists is so that it can show you horrific, disgusting images, blah blah blah. And then years later, like, people fucking start doing analytics and studying the story and stuff like that, and just the atmosphere of the isolation and the mistrust going on. Like, it sets up an amazing, like, even without the creature, it sets up an amazing, like, fucking mystery or like a kind of, you know, atmosphere. We were talking about Alien and stuff. This is just like Alien. You're not in a different, like, you're not out in space, but you're in such an isolated place that no matter what happens here, it's just here. One's well, people could potentially come, but you're not getting out. You know that way.
And that's the things I like about films like The Thing, and like I watched The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist recently, the 2007 film. Now the ending in that is absolutely awful, but the movie's great in that the creatures and stuff aren't scary, but what is scary is the human nature side of things. That when you're put into those scenarios, the scary thing isn't the scenario itself, but the nature of other people. And that's where like, oh my god, like I've got to manage this fucking religious, this person's become a religious zealot because of this situation. All that kind of stuff is very, very interesting.
I think like every single apocalyptic game, movie, TV show, whatever it is I've ever watched or played, there's always one like ultra weird new religious group that are cannibals, and like it's just
always
inevitable.
Cannibals.
there's always one group, and it's just like, okay, I'm hungry, we're gonna resort to cannibalism instantly here.
We are
every
made
time
in the Lord's image.
Yeah,
Therefore, I'm eating the body of Christ.
Let's go.
Jesus.
I'll explain it away somehow. Gentlemen, that's been plenty of time for our spooky Halloween episode.
Woohoo!
Yeah, way to go. So I guess just to give people a bit of an update, next week on the podcast, it'll be myself, Craig, and Luke. We're going to look at Nintendo versus Microsoft versus Sony and see who we believe maybe came out on top in 2023. So you can catch that. And also for people who haven't checked out our Patreon yet, patreon.com/The Gift of Gaming. We're currently running through the Gift of Gaming Battle Royale, where we've chosen some of our it's just some worthy video game characters and put them through some random tests, and we decide in each post show who gets knocked out and who's left us as the Gift of Gaming podcast's greatest video game character. You know, you can check that out for the price of a coffee each and every month. It would help support the podcast, and we'd love it very, very much if you could help out or tell your friends. Colm, Kev, thank you so much for getting spooked with me during the week, and then for
It was great. It was a week for it, you know.
It was
so much fun.
It was, and I hope you guys enjoy whatever spooky things you get up to on Halloween. And to our listeners out there, go out, get tricked, go for treats, have a happy Halloween, get spooked, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.
Bye.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Why are we Oh, this survival mode is fucking awful.
Oh, the intensity of the running away.